As I celebrated my 12 years from meth yesterday, I realized my biggest one wasn't until I quit drinking, um, which next month will be 4 years. But I think I went through the hardest trials through that 4 years, pretty much my life. I went through wife leaving, um, being a full-time single dad, kind of watching life slowly fall apart over many years, and that was one of the hardest things I went through. And at the same time of I was trying to go through all that and stay sober and be a present father. Um, I wasn't always the best at that. Sometimes the depression got a hold of me and I would seclude myself and I wasn't present. Good thing is I had family around me to kind of cover for me when I was so depressed I wouldn't even get out of bed. Um, but as I look back, it's a lot of the things that grew me um, to where I am today. Am I 100% ever? Probably not. I probably am, just never in my mind. I could always be better. I can always do better. There's always more to be done. But I got to give myself grace. The hardest thing I find when you're going through hard times is not self-destructing. I am notorious for self-destructing. I am notorious for throwing in the rag and just calling it quits, going to get high or drunk or whatever. And over the last 4 years, I've gone through things, and even through it all, even through the tears, even through the heartache, even through all these things, I never threw in the towel. I knew, for one, my son needed me. I knew, for two, my job, I have to be sober for my job. For three, I did not want to go back to that lifestyle, to needing a substance or anything like that just to cope. So I made that decision in my mind that I was not going to do that. So that part of self-destruction wasn't there anymore. But sometimes we self-destruct on the ones around us. And it hurts, it bothers us. What they do, what they say, all these things, I was the biggest POS around, according to some people, which everybody's entitled to their opinion. My son was being told that I was a POS when I wasn't around, and that's not cool, obviously. But instead of freaking out and making things worse, I just bit my tongue and dealt with it. We don't have to agree with what everybody else says or does around us. They're not in our shoes or anything else. We're not in their shoes. But I think, for me, I look back at it, and even when people do me wrong, I've always had a forgiving heart to forgive them for their not understanding. For thinking that I'm in their place, so I need to take their advice, and that's when you're in a situation, a person's outside advice could not help you, because they're not in your shoes. They're not looking at the same situation you are. They're looking at it from the outside. They're going to judge. They're going to have their thoughts, ideas on what you should do, or how you need to be. And that's not the case, you know, and that I found that I can't blame them for not understanding where I am. I can't blame them for having the same problems I'm having. I can't blame them for my depression or me not being able to pick my head up off the pillow or any of these things. I pray that maybe one day they'll understand without having to go through it. It's not easy. And when you're first getting into recovery, you have all these things to deal with. And it makes it extremely hard to stay in recovery when your heart is being broken. You're watching your life fall apart. You're fighting with family members and friends and all of the above. Just remember to pause for a minute and understand that you're doing the best you can. Give yourself that grace. We're not always right or wrong, but you're doing the best you can. Continue to push forward. Let the bitterness go. Let what people said about you go. We don't have to have them in our lives, but even if they're not in our lives, a lot of us will carry that bitterness, that grudge, that animosity towards somebody, and it will eat you alive. Learn to forgive and let go. My son asked me last night about the devil. I says, as much praying as we do, we should probably just pray for the devil, And after I said it, it really made sense, That's exactly what we should be doing, because so many people out here are lost. And we need to pray for them. We need to pray for the ones that attack us. We need to pray for all these things. But ultimately, we need to pray for the devil, because he needs it too. Never thought about praying for the devil. In fact, I've always hated the devil, so to pray for him was always not in my agenda. But knowing what I know now, I should probably pray for the devil. I hope all of you have a wonderful day. I hope this helps you guys in some way or another. Remember to try to find some positive in the day. We're able to wake up and take the breath of the day. God granted us the strength to pull ourselves out of bed and do what we need to do today. Even if it's just the strength to not pick up the bottle or the drug or any of that stuff, that He gave us that strength. Remember, it's all in our choices, So I hope everybody has a wonderful day. I know there's quite a few struggling right now. Holidays around the corner. Family members we got to go face that spoke bad about us, Just remember, they're not us. They don't understand our situation like we do. Ultimately, fights, arguments, all that's going to happen, and it's up to us to forgive certain things and just let things go and not let it eat us alive. That being said, I'm going to go get my workout on, get some aggression out, let some stress off. That way it doesn't turn into a blow-up thing. Hope everybody finds some kind of way to deal with their stresses and emotions in a healthier way. Blowing up can be good, but blowing up at the ones that love us and care about us is not always the best thing, just because we don't understand their side or whatever it may be. I know we go through a lot of things, and me in particular, I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I went through this with my family. I went through being judged by my family. I went through the struggles with my family. So I'm talking out of experience of the things I went through. And I'm just hoping that this message will help somebody else that is going through struggles and whatever they need to do. Again, I hope everybody has a blessed day. Long video today. Hope you watch it all. If you need anything, reach out. I'm always here. Thank you.